Outraged residents taunt police officers involved in a shooting in LA's Westlake district. Police shot and killed a suspect during an alleged knife attack. Now questions surround that very shooting. Good evening, I'm Chris Schauble. Tonight, the circumstances surrounding that officer-involved shooting are being investigated. A police spokesperson says the officers acted quickly to stop a knife-wielding attacker. However, residents in that area question whether the incident had to end that way. Stephanie Stanton live in the Westlake district with the latest details. Stephanie.
Yeah, good evening, Chris. A very emotional case indeed. The LAPD has released the names of the officers involved in that shooting. They are Frank Hernandez, Steven Rodriguez, and Paris Pineda. Meanwhile, residents here are very angry. Their anger turning to rage over what they say is a case of police brutality. An angry crowd of onlookers yelling in Spanish, "Assassin, assassin, you will pay for this." Their chants directed at 3 LAPD officers who shot and killed a man with a knife.
Officers made contact with the individual, ordered him to drop the knife. Apparently, he failed to do so, and an officer-involved shooting ensued.
Police tape surrounds the scene near Union and 6th in the Rampart Division, where a bike officer fired 2 rounds in broad daylight around 1 p.m. Police tell us what led to the incident.
They were flagged down by a citizen that indicated that a suspect had a knife at that location and was possibly threatening some people that were out here shopping.
Witnesses say the man was riding a bicycle when police tried to pull him over. They blame a language barrier for the man's failure to obey the officers.
He does not speak English, so he could not understand what the officer was saying. And then after that, the officer proceeded in shooting him twice in the head.
But police say Officer Frank Hernandez yelled several times in both Spanish and English for the man to stop. They say the suspect raised the knife and appeared to come at the officer, and that's when the officer-involved shooting occurred. Now, police have not confirmed whether or not that man was shot in the head. They say that a knife was recovered at the scene. Meanwhile, they have not released the identity of that man. However, we talked to one gentleman out here at the scene who believes that it may be his 37-year-old cousin. In fact, a short time ago, he was on his way to try to identify the body. Now, at this point, the LAPD's Force Investigation Division is handling this incident. That is the latest live here in the Westlake Division. I'm Stephanie Stanton. Chris, back to you.
All right, Stephanie, thanks.
A protest moves from day into night. A peaceful candlelight vigil turns rowdy. People starting trash can fires as protesters demand answers from the police. Good evening, I'm Chuck Henry. Colleen has the night off. Now, while many celebrated this Labor Day, others took to the streets to protest an officer-involved shooting. The suspect was shot and killed on Sunday. The LAPD says he was dangerous and that officers had no choice. Tony Gignard is live in the Westlake District for us tonight with more. Tony?
Chuck, this demonstration started this morning, and just about an hour ago, the LAPD decided it was time for this to come to an end. Rocks, bottles, and trash being thrown at officers. Officers are in riot gear. Lots of black and white patrol cars blocking 6 streets. This after a day-long protest over the fatal shooting of a day laborer. Outrage over an officer-involved shooting that left a Guatemalan immigrant dead led to a day and night of protests and prayer. Manuel Jimenez was shot and killed by an LAPD officer on Sunday. Police say he'd been drinking and lunged at a pregnant woman with a knife.
The officers tried to communicate with the suspect. When they engaged him, he was unresponsive, and they eventually lunged at the officers with the knife.
Jimenez's cousin says he may not have understood the officers' orders even if they were given in Spanish. Jimenez spoke Quiche, a Guatemalan dialect.
No habla inglés y no habla. He didn't speak Spanish very well and not English. When the police told something to him, he didn't understand what he said.
They don't have to shoot anybody. They don't have to kill anybody.
Did the police think of his family, of his kids, of his wife? Mostly that's my question.
What began with a quiet street corner vigil erupted into an emotion-filled march down 6th Street to and from LAPD Rampart Division. Emotions escalated when supporters of the Revolutionary Communist Party newspaper joined in.
It's not a question of stirring up the crowd. I came out here and people were here and I joined in with what people were doing here.
Protesters targeted a man they thought was an undercover cop. Minutes later, 2 other men traded blows. a community angry at police and at times each other. At 10 o'clock, the protest was declared an unlawful assembly after rocks and bottles were thrown at officers. A day-long demonstration ending with arrests. Now, protesters plan demonstrating again outside of LAPD headquarters in downtown Los Angeles tomorrow afternoon. They're angry not only about the shooting yesterday, but other shootings involving officers in this area. It is testing the relationship between the LAPD and this community. I'm Tony Ginyard reporting live from the Westlake District. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Tim.